Exits are like exactly arranged marriage. You have to meet many people. There'll be many that will progress to a certain level, and then you obviously fit the one. There's the ecosystem for exits. Founders also should know their limits and where they are. There's a reality versus myth, right? Not everyone can become Elon Musk, and you should know that, right? But a lot of people in the ecosystem are fed into this wrong thing that you have to stay hungry, stay foolish, you will be very big. People are okay to run subpar companies and remain founder, then exit, get rich and do something else.
Right. Hi everyone, Prantik here. Welcome to another episode of TIE Talks. This is special because, we obviously had the opportunity to host venture capitalists, PE folks, some international sports people, but my favorite sessions are when I get to chat with fellow founders because in any entrepreneur ecosystem, they're the focal point, they're the heart of the ecosystem. And I have the pleasure of hosting Ajay, the founder and CEO of NextBillion, a startup that, again, I won't steal the thunder. There's a lot to learn and unpack from his journey. He has had the good privilege of working in large companies across major metropolis cities, in Tokyo, San Francisco. Obviously, he's been in Singapore, has done work out of India as well. That experience, will count for a lot. And well, recently he's had a successful exit and, in the Southeast Asian ecosystem. So Ajay, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Prantik.
I want to start with the so-called end because there's so much fanfare. There's so many headlines about exits. Why did the exit happen? Why did you choose to exit? And then we'll get to the hows.
See, there's a lot of factors to exits. It can't be planned. A lot of this happens serendipitously, actually. But you should have some science behind it. It's not so easy that you wake up one day, you receive a term sheet, and there is no like movie style exits here. In our world, we saw a few things happening macro, and then we saw something micro. Right? So I'll first focus on the macro. Macro, the world was changing very rapidly, as you guys know. Lot of the SaaS companies that got funded in 21 and 20 were heavily overvalued. And then what happened was funding will dry up at some point, right?
Yeah.
So we saw and foresaw that though we had enough money in the bank, the sort of revenue targets, valuations, dilution, when you do all the maths, I think the good long-term goal for the company is to have a bigger brother in the US, right? 2-3 reasons why. One is that is a large market.
Yeah.
2, we were here, company sales were going there. And 3, we personally couldn't move there. That's another huge factor. So when you look at all of these 3 factors, we are like, okay, long term, we decided last year itself, at any point raising another round and continuing through IPO was not a feasible journey. 1, it was a very practical decision. I mean, nothing emotional about it. 2, obviously we saw the macro. Macro, I can't control much. What I can control is our company, our P&L. And 2, we were already getting a lot of inbounds actually for exits. Our tech was really niche. And I still think we've built an incredible tech platform. We still continue to run NextBillion, by the way. So we are still working at NextBillion with Velociter, of course. We wanted to find a good distribution channel for it. The best distribution channel was in the US. And when we were getting inbounds, we flirted with a few people, understood what's going on. Exits are also very funny. It's like exactly arranged marriage. You have to meet many people. There'll be many that will progress to a certain level. And then you obviously fit the one, right? Some really serious, like big companies. I can't take names, as you know. And then some of them went up to almost like a LOI and we did DD. And as with everything exits, what I learned is anytime, even in the last 1 hour, it can fall through. Right? Everyone seems like the right partner. Right? Everyone's saying all the right things to you. Yeah. Everyone's saying, Ajay, I will do this for you, that for you. But eventually, when we saw Velociter and when we saw the people at Velociter, they were amazing. Right? Bootstrapped, growing. They've been doing this for so many years now. Founders were inspiring as well. So eventually we just took the plunge and, we just told the board that, hey, I know we've been discussing this for a while. Board was really supportive. Board understood the current dynamics and what's going on. And then eventually what just happened was that one led to another and it happened.
You've given the headline to the editor that, exits are just like arranged marriage. So taking that analogy, I mean, just like I suppose in an Indian arranged marriage, there are so many actors at play.
Correct.
Just give us a sense of, obviously you have your co-founders, but what sort of external counsel, help did you have to sought? What was the experience like? Was that really useful?
Yeah. So other founders mostly.
Yeah.
I have always relied on advice on other founders only. This is not to say others are not smart or they don't know what they're saying. It's just that people in the thick of things understand things better, right? Irrelevance happens very quickly in our world, all right? If you're not operating, you are sort of giving stale advice.
Yeah.
And that even to me today will be true, right? I can't advise AI company how to do GTM because I'm not doing it,
Yeah.
right? I am reading about it. I know what's going on. Same thing happened even with us. Other founders were super duper helpful to me, at least in terms of navigating. Exit is an extremely emotional process. It's not easy. High stakes, low stakes, high value, low value, doesn't matter. The amount of work is the same, right? And when people are doing cross-border M&A, it's not a joke. So I think, as you said initially, we are a very few of the companies that have been able to successfully do cross-border M&A.
Correct.
Because the amount of compliance, legal, financial, accounting, your books, your contracts, everything is under scrutiny. So I think other founders really help me navigate this process. Apart from that, it's all administrative. So it's like, hey, there will be enough agencies to do your work, right? You can hire a PwC to do your compliance accounting. You can get a decent banker to do the other LOI stuff. But my biggest tip is hire a really good lawyer, because the lawyer has to have done M&A in the past, ideally, and your size, scale, and the same cross-border M&A.
Yeah.
So like we were very picky about who we choose for like representing us as well. But at a high level, if buyer, seller are aligned that they want to do it, it will happen. It's just a matter of how long it'll take. There will always be some people who will come and do some, in India they call batti, right? So
Correct.
these things will happen.
Surely.
It's all a part of the drama.
Yeah.
But if the principles are agreed, it will happen, right? I would never sell the company to a person who would buy the company and just say, listen, I'm going to scrap your technology.
Yeah.
We were philosophically, we had a few hard stops.
At the end of the day, all co-founders, are you guys happy with the outcome?
See, I think financially, right? There is no limit, in my opinion.
Sure.
Right? It's a very, so who's happy, who's not is very relative, according to me. But professionally, I think it is very, 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 very hard to start a company, to raise tier 1 venture capital, and to sell the company.
Yeah.
If it's a fraction of people do it. And for me, it was very fulfilling.
Yeah.
That we have, we've taken the whole journey to the end.
Yeah.
Right? And it was my dream to take it public. Of course, I'm hoping that's for another day, another time. But the aspiration was always to do this in a fashion that's really big. I'm just happy we got a really good outcome, and all my people, they got the next home.
That's beautiful.
For me, that is even more important. When we were
How many people at the point of
we
exit?
were at 35, I think.
Amazing.
And so all of us are still with NB. All of us still continue to own a P&L for NB.
Yeah.
All of us have the creative freedom to build the platform towards like where we are.
Yeah.
That's how the beauty of the buyers who also said that, listen, you've built a really good team and tech. At least for the foreseeable future, I don't want to disrupt what you've done or what you, Gaurav and Shaun together have really put together here.
Yeah.
So that way it's all BAU. All right. So it would suck for me to sell the company and fire employees. That was never philosophically okay with me.
Yeah.
So that was the other big constraint for us, that, hey, we don't let go of people during the exit. So all that has stood the way it is. So I think all's well that ends well.
No, massive respect for many things, right? One is, like you said, you've gone through the whole cycle, start to the so-called exit. You've respected the fact that you've found someone who respects the tech and the people. Because I think, under the guise of exit, we have seen so many acqui-hires or so many exits where it looks good on paper. At best, maybe the biggest promoter makes money, but jobs are lost, which again, I'm not even going to the karma side of things, but I think it's not for the ecosystem, it's not a desirable
It's not a
outcome.
desirable thing.
And talking about that, right? This is, to me, I think, as a founder who's had the privilege of sort of going through a similar cycle, I feel really good. And of course, this Thursday, thanks for agreeing to do that event with other exited founders, because I think I want to get your thought as a founder who's gone through this cycle. In your opinion, what are the 2 or 3 challenges that's preventing good exits from happening in our region?
So, we need hyperscalers. First things first. Now, unfortunately, the whole region has no hyperscaler.
Yeah.
If you look at Silicon Valley, my biggest learning living a lot in the US as well as spending time with my company is that people over there have 20 years of conditioning on how to build companies, how to acquire companies, how to then ingest that companies and extract 100x value from that company. It is not a year, 2 year, 5 year ecosystem. India was lagging. If you see, same things happening in China. India is lagging, but we are there. Now we'll slowly, I think, get there. here we are lagging a lot more than because
15, 20 years behind you.
I'm maybe at least a decade behind, I think, than India. Right. So because even in India, we don't see M&As that are, pardon my French, but ballsy.
Yeah.
People need to have guts to take calls.
Yeah.
Okay. That in India is very low. It's extremely high in Silicon Valley. You won't believe the number of people who are smaller than us who have asked me, do you want to get bought? And that's amazing. I love that because he knows if they acquire you, they can extract 100x value
surely
from you, right? And they know how to do it. And for me, that's very, very, very important in an ecosystem. But here we don't have. We made offers to bio companies. I'm not kidding. When we raised our Series B, we had money.
Yeah.
But there's an ecosystem for M&A and there's an ecosystem for exits. Founders also should know their limits and where they are, right? You cannot be at 100,000 ARR. And I love ambitious founders. I was an ambitious founder. But there's a reality versus myth, right? Not everyone can become Elon Musk, and you should know that, right? So, but a lot of people in the ecosystem are fed into this wrong thing that you have to stay hungry, stay foolish, you will be very big. Startups take a lot of time to scale, stick it out, and things like this. So, the willingness for exits is weirdly low. People are okay to run subpar companies and remain founder, then exit, get rich, and do something else.
Right.
So there's no rotation of capital. So when there's no rotation of capital, how will the ecosystem build, right? So that's my 2-3 things I have observed. I mean, I'm giving very blunt views, but that's what's happening, right?
I'm glad you're sharing this because I was having a lunch with a VC and he said something interesting. He said, look, again, I think the commonality to what you just said, he said, the fact that we have been trained or conditioned by Western media to play by that same playbook of chasing unicorns and raising X amount of capital, etc. He said, look, firstly, I don't believe in that. That as a VC, I only need to chase 1 out of 10, success stories. I want to have 6 or 7. But even if they have $50 to $75 million exits for rotation of capital, rotation of talent, he said, look, we've got to be realistic about the depth of capital, the depth of market.
Correct.
Right?
It's more depth of market.
Market, right? Because I met another one, it's an American fund, and they said, look, when we began here, we have $1 billion growth fund. Money is not the problem. But he says, I have a challenge of where do I deploy?
Exactly. I know enough capital here, right? I know 2-3 American funds who came to me. I met the partners here. They are looking for 100 million ARR SaaS companies and they're zero. And it's literally zero. Right. So for that, you need, as you said, the more important fact, the third pillar of exits is market depth.
Yeah.
You cannot find a deeper market than the US.
Yeah.
Where even there's a small company in Midwest that will be doing 100 million ARR.
That's
right. Because people are willing to respect your software and pay for it.
Yeah.
So I think these are the 3 fundamental pillars. A, having a hyperscaler to have the money to buy. 2, having gutsy people who want to buy you and extract value. 3 is, of course, having founders who want to sell. Because, see, there's this notion that you can be a startup founder and get rich. That's not true. In fact, you get poorer as a startup founder. Right? So
thanks for educating the market about this.
Because there is a lot more money to be made in Nvidia or Google. If I stayed at Google, I would have been maybe like actually richer for 14 years, right? So you are doing it for only 2 things. One is truly you believe in the problem.
Yeah.
You love the problem. We love maps. We still love maps. Yeah. Okay. And you can wake me up in the middle of the night, day and ask me about maps. I'll tell you I love it. But that's one area that you should have. 2, you should also understand that this space is it's a long game, right? I haven't spent long game. I also think that I don't know if we spent longer, where we would have been, but it is a long game. And there's many times you lose motivation in between, including me, including Gaurav, every one of us has felt the dip.
Surely.
So fighting through those and going to the next level is also very tough. So there is some elements of all this people have to be aware. And in this pillar, I think a lot of people are a bit confused. What I have met younger founders is something, right? And third is that unfortunately, in the Silicon Valley, 2 cycles of wealth creation has happened at a mammoth scale. First is Microsoft, Apple era in 90s, and then you have Google, Meta era in 2000s, and then you have the whole Databricks, Snowflake era in 2010s. So 3-4 eras have happened, both in consumer and B2B. So you've had redefining companies who've created wealth for employees and founders. So when you ask a really good operator there, they'll just write you a 25K check because they like you. We don't have that much wealth in India to write a 25K check from an individual, even today. So I think we are getting there in India. I think people like Dipinder of Zomato, etc., are actually looking at it the right way. I think we need a lot more aggression with these guys. They should be willing to share the wealth.
Every year there's this annual report that comes about the Southeast Asia economy, 650 million people. I think there lies another challenge that in my head, I feel from a startup perspective, the Southeast Asia story has not lived up to its
Has not
potential.
played out.
And sometimes I ask myself, is there even a Southeast Asia? Because it's all fragmented, 11 different countries,
It
language.
is.
Do you sort of feel disappointed about, operating in Southeast Asia? Do you wish had you done this in the US or some other part of the world?
Physical location is very important, right? You physically have to be there in the market you're building for. You have to spend time there. Talk to your customers to understand what's going on. But you also need the governments, you need the ecosystem to build infra, to invest in like manufacturing, invest in other facets like India has done for a long time
Right.
to build. India is a little wealthy today because it's 2 decades of development like that has happened.
Yeah.
It's very critical that the infra has to be also done by government. It just can't be private sector doing work to grow the economy.
Got it.
Right. So in India, I think that way we've had a good 10 years,
10
right?
years.
Where there is consistent policy making combined with infrastructure, combined with private funding, and combined with ambitious people who are willing to take the risk.
Right.
Those 4 are recipe. I think here few pillars are still missing. 2, to your point, we are 11 countries.
Yeah.
It is also 11 different languages. It is 11 different ecosystems and 11 different spending capacities and currencies. Right? If you make $1 million like Dong or Kemmer, it won't add up to dollar normalization, right? That's other big learning I had like when I was here. These things, at least in India, actually India is heterogeneous. It's not homogeneous at all,
Sure.
actually.
Absolutely.
Right? We are extremely heterogeneous. US is homogeneous to a large extent. Only one language. Huge time. You try Europe, you can't scale again because it is 26 different countries and you need to comply with 26 different rules. That's the reason some things will scale as a vertical. Not all can have the same recipe, especially in consumer.
Let's go back to your childhood, right? Tell us a bit. Was being a founder ever part of the scheme of things?
So my dad quit a very, very good job in Canara Bank back in the day. And then he started his own like merchant banking thing in 91. So I've never seen my dad work for anyone since I was 4.
Right.
And I saw the ups and downs also of that. Right. So for me, being a founder was almost like, I want to be like my dad. Like for a long time that I will do a job for sure. I will learn in that job. But then at some point in my life, I will start. I am not the smartest.
Yeah.
So I need to have enough people around me who are smart that can bring ideas to life. I am extremely good at problem solving. You give me the most complex problem, I will solve it for you. I waited to become a founder. It was not like I ever rushed up. In fact, I asked Gaurav for another idea before like NB. I had an idea in car
How
sharing.
did you guys meet?
We were at Grab together.
Okay.
So 3 of us were at Grab together.
Okay.
And I asked him for another idea before this actually, for which also I had funding.
Right.
So I had a term sheet even for that idea. So I knew I could do a few things. Capital raising. I knew I was extremely good externally to bring the right people. 2, I had extremely good operations, other skills, how to run, how to set up groups and how to solve problems. But technical talent was not my thing. And without Shaolin, who's our 3rd very critical pillar, an amazing technologist and incredible CTO. So when he also said, I'll do it, we are like, dude, then it is a sin not to do it. And you have 3 people who are very good at their art. We raised 7 million on a deck. We didn't even have a product. We just set up an entity. But the team was stellar.
Which year is this?
2019. Before the hype.
Yeah.
And we had a stellar team. We had a starting 5 was amazing. And so we had, and then Gaurav Shaolin said, fine, I mean, you're willing to get 7 million on a deck, then we should do it. That's how this whole thing started actually. And really kudos to Hemant from Lightspeed for actually believing in a guy and saying, listen, I'll seed you. Right? Doesn't matter. So I have big respect and huge kudos
I want to
to
come
him.
to the Hemant story because obviously he's well known and he's backed some fabulous ideas and founders. Yeah. Tell us a bit about people like you said, you maybe because having watched your dad that you wanted to work in some companies and then start. Yeah. Just give us a flavor of you worked in a Google. Yeah. You've also worked in Grab in its heydays. Right? Yeah. Grab was amazing. Right. Like, I'm sure it would have been fascinating to see Anthony and team do what they did. What was Google like when you joined?
Incredible.
What did you learn? Tell us some
a great
anecdotes.
Company. I joined at the heydays again. 2010, 11, 12
Correct.
were just like stellar Google days.
In
right?
SF?
No, I first joined in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So my first job, by the way, was just reviewing pornographic ads. That's literally my first job. After electronics engineering and masters, and I was like, what am I even doing? I took up that job, and it was such an incredible place to work. The people, sort of problems they were solving, the just excitement, even at the low level, was really worth it. I think it shaped me as a person. Oh, I got fired eventually from Google.
Yeah.
And even that firing was a different story, not for today. So I was very fortunate to be internally exposed to amazing teams. I worked in amazing teams. See, even within Google, you can work in any team. But I had exposure to spam and search, which was our largest product at the time. Then eventually did YouTube for a while within spam. And though it was back-end, you work with front-end a lot to understand as to like what is trust and safety, what is spam, how do you evade things, like how do you outsmart the scammers, etc. So I learned a lot there. Two was I also worked in Google Maps, and Google Maps is, trust me, even today, though we still compete with them, single greatest product Google made, I think, after search. It's very difficult to build maps, by the way. It looks very simple on top. It's very difficult. And the way Google has formed an ecosystem around consumer technology on that and enterprise now is incredible. So I think that parts of it exposed me to real scale. Like you have 1 billion DAU and you have so many devices active. If they opened up a screen and showed you, the whole world is full, right? So they had reach.
So again, reach, scale, thinking big, ambition.
Think big, ambition. That's why you see so many entrepreneurs coming out, not anymore, but the heydays, right?
Yeah.
So I think that really shaped me for 5 years. Then the firing shaped me even more. I think I became an adult after getting fired, which
How
is
did
great.
that feel?
I mean, it felt horrible then, but now I think it's awesome. Right?
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm sure.
In hindsight, I think it was for that few months, it sucked. But then I also think if they didn't fire me, I would have never left.
So, clearly, it's shaped you in so many positive ways. And if you compare it to a Grab, which was scaling rapidly, raising funds, I believe that's 2016, 17, around that
17,
time, right?
yes.
17. What's been the journey and learnings from Grab, especially when you compare and contrast to a Google?
See, I think I call Grab my adult job. Google was my kiddie job.
Right.
I was young also, and there was not much work, and who cared what I did in Google? But at Grab, what I did mattered.
Yeah.
Right. So if you see Grab Maps today, that's what over inception, over three and a half years we had built when we were inside. And I think with Grab, we saw what a fast moving consumer tech company is at the peak. We solved some real problem. So for us, Maps also, like Skunkworks inside, it wasn't a part of the core platform.
Right.
Because we were building from the back end.
Yeah.
But fully powering the front end.
Yeah.
Right. Pricing, batching, allocation, dispatch, ETA, map. I can name 17 microservices that we would have had, all powering everything you touch today. But it was being done slowly, straddling it across 3 years. So I think it was great working at Grab. It was amazing to see firsthand.
If I look at a Google or Grab, once heard about the PayPal mafia, you keep hearing that Zooglers, they sort of back.
Yes.
In your experience with the Googles and the Grabs in this part of the world in Asia, in the US, I know it happens, but did you see that happening here, that existing ex-colleagues are sort of backing founders, leaving
It's
to
there,
start?
100% it's there. I think there is close groups for both even today. I'm a part of both. But it's just the numbers are not as high as Silicon Valley, right? If you see Y Combinator per batch is 200 startups. Right? So they are incubating per year. One incubator is getting 600 startups out, right? So we are not at that scale. But personally, even today, if you call an ex-Grab colleague or ex-Google colleague and ask for help, they will never say no. And my dad always told me, Ajay, it's not about money. It is about you feeling the passion for something you're doing. In fact, as I kept saying, you will get poorer if you work on your own.
That's true.
But you should, very few people will take that plunge. And I took the plunge when I had no money, no backup, nothing. Why can't you do it?
Right.
When you have all the backing in the world, you have the education we've given you, you have Google Grab on your resume. If you don't do it, then maybe you will regret it later. I won't care. You also may not care because you may do really well monetarily. But somewhere when you wake up when you're 60, you will think, bhai, karna tha 30s mein ek baar.
Why didn't I try?
Something will pinch you.
Yeah.
Get it out of your system. Even if you fail, no problem, fail.
Yeah.
At least you will think that I tried. But if you don't try at all in your 20s and 30s, 40s becomes harder.
Yeah.
Because responsibilities go up. I'm seeing it with me right now, right? it is dead, 100% higher. So I just sort of took his advice. Exactly at 30, I started.
No, such sane advice, and I'm glad you sort of took that. And fast forward to that, how did you meet a Hemant? How many people did you have to hear no's from before that 7 million check on a deck? Because of course, it sounds brilliant. You met Hemant, clearly the pitch went well, 7 million. But I'm sure it wasn't a straight line. There were lots of hoops. How did that happen? Tell us a bit more.
I mean, at the cost of sounding arrogant,
Sure.
I didn't hear anything. There were no no's.
Fantastic.
But there was also because people ask me this question very often.
Yeah.
They expect like same thing, right? A story that is of struggle, grit. Frankly, we were very fortunate, very lucky, and very, I would say, at the right place, right time. This is not about my pitch. This is not about my deck or my problem or my team. We were at the right place, right time, many times. That I can't control.
Yeah.
In all, I only did one pitch. I was in Bangalore and Hemant was kind enough to take that meeting.
Was it a cold outreach? You knew someone who
No.
knew him?
Hemant was Google with me. So though we sort of knew each other,
Yeah. But
when he came as a partner, I reached out to him. I told you, right, for another idea. I wanted to build Turo for India actually first.
all right, you said that's the first one you took to Gaurav
So
as well.
yeah.
Okay.
So it was called Ride. It is peer-to-peer car sharing. Actually, it's still, I think, a really good idea. I didn't execute on it because insurance in India is a problem. Right? There's compliance that if I take your car and I kill someone,
Something happens then
you're in jail, not me. Right? So I think that law is not fair.
Yeah, fair.
Whereas in the US, I can rent a car to you and all the liabilities is just to you.
Yeah.
So I didn't pursue it. Right? And also Gaurav was not the right mindset that time. He's like, dude, I don't want to do the startup. Right?
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable here. So I think with Hemant, he was really kind. He said, okay, you come to my office. We took the maps pitch to him, right? Saying that, hey, now that we are not doing that, Hemant, we would love to do this Google Maps for sort of enterprise. And we are seeing that we are slowly becoming thought leaders in this space. And 2-3 things worked out. Obviously, Grab was a very hot company. And we were solving this problem sort of, for Grab.
Yeah.
So we had the know-how. We had a really good team. And I think I pitched to Hemant. He said, okay, bring the team. Let's talk. And then, luckily, again, serendipity and timing matters. At Bejul and the team were in Singapore for SFF, I think.
Okay.
Then we just caught up with them and they said, we like the team. We had IC within 2-3 weeks and we had term sheet. So, and then post that, we had maybe 25 funds wanting to fund us at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that you just need that one anchor.
It was
and
a
then,
lot. It happened through every round for us.
Right.
And funnily for us, any round, like luckily, we were so fortunate that investors came. So yes, we had to do the hard work of pitching and making sure the numbers are correct. We are fair and ethical in what we are doing. All of that is a given.
Yeah.
But luckily, since I think the timing was as such, right? Through the rounds, we were at the hot of the hot spaces also.
Yeah.
We were in SaaS. We were doing India-US bridge.
Correct.
We were doing Asia-US bridge as well. At that point, we had actually really good logos and customers and traction initially. See, there are many ideas that were built in the wrong time, right? So Google Glass is a classic example.
Yeah.
It was just 10 years early,
Yeah.
right? So I think for me, my biggest learning is 2 things again, same thing. One is macro, which you can't control. Everything is macro. 2 is timing, that you should have some 10% that God's grace somewhere. You are at the right place, right time. Everything else is 90% you, your hard work, your day-to-day, everyday showing up. But without 10% Prantik, I'm sorry, you will not succeed. It's unfortunate.
And I've always wanted to ask you this. So as a consumer, like you said, I mean, I've always been fascinated by Google Maps.
Yeah.
Always that, man, I've been using this product for free and my life can't work without this.
Yeah.
But when you started this and at the industry level, why wasn't Google charging enterprises? Like what did you all do differently?
They were charging a lot.
Okay. So what was the reason that a NextBillion was needed if a Google was there or a Waze was there?
What do you think is a map? It's a digital representation of the physical world, right? And it has various layers to it.
Correct.
Right? There's roads, there's building, there's postcode, there's entrance, exits. There are many, many things I can always attribute to in a map. So in our world, what we saw in ride hailing, okay, the true essence for many metrics is ETA. How far, how long, how much is the only 3 things really consumers care about.
Yeah.
So if you're unable to give accurate ETAs, your business is moot. And ETAs work purely on maps. Distance, time, traffic. Now, many systems in the world used to calculate time with fly the crow. It's called. Right?
Yeah.
Now, but the reality, it is never accurate. Then Google Uber first time put Google Maps on every phone.
Correct.
saying, I just click a button, out comes.
Yeah.
It will predict my location, where I am, where I have to go. Wow, this is amazing. But in Southeast Asia, they never invested money. It's because when I was even at Google, you have your tier 1 system, which is US, Western Europe, Australia, India next. Then you come to this thing. Even within Southeast Asia, Singapore is amazing.
Correct.
It's small. But Indonesia, no. If you go to Vietnam, Thailand, it's not even in a P45 for them, right? So who will put the system in place? It has to be a Grab or a Gojek. Now what happens with this is, but how do you do it? Okay, Singapore Formula 1 happens. It was our Einstein moment, right? We went to Google. We told them, hey guys, we need to shut everything, right? All of these roads because my taxis can't go. And then entry exits are shut. Esplanade is shut. MBS is shut.
Yeah.
They said, sorry boss, we can't do anything because the same map is being used by me, you, everyone.
Yeah.
We said, hey, how can you have the same stack for enterprise and consumer? Our use cases are different. Your use cases are different. But that's the way it is. Because Google Maps was built on decades of centralization.
Right.
I will send 1,000 cars. I will collect the data, process. I will own the data and distribute the data. Whereas slowly out of Imperial College, an open source project started ages back called OpenStreetMaps.
Right.
Saying that, hey, there should not be a monopolization of any geographic data.
Right.
That took some time to incubate, right? Suddenly what happened, everyone except Google in the Valley realized, oh my God, there's something called OSM. So first Meta started heavily, working with OSM, and all of their projects are now on open source. If you see them on Git, and many other people started working on OSM.
Right.
That's when we all started working on OSM and Grab. Then we realized there's enough of an ecosystem now in open source for us to build an open source version of enterprise maps. So if I started this maybe 8-10 years ago, I would have failed miserably because there's no ecosystem again. Ecosystem sprung up. There's interoperability is what we call it.
Right.
If I'm able to take your map and fork it to make it something else and also like add a few layers, and can I give private maps to every company was the thesis. Right? Like can you have, if you have a company X that's doing logistics, are you really worried about every point of interest business in the world? No. All I'm worried about is truck restrictions. I'm worried about whether I'm allowed at certain times in certain places. I'm worried about loading docks. So these are the features I need for a map.
Right.
So we built a interoperable platform that, hey, if you're a truck company, use truck maps. If you're a car company, use car maps. If you're a bike company, use bike maps. Each one has separate layers, separate features. I will do the unsexy work of managing all this for you. That's how this whole thing started. Even today, I can never, or any one of us can't meet Google Maps in consumer or car.
Sure.
But almost certainly you can beat them in truck.
Fascinating.
It's because they don't have a truck grade maps. So this is sort of where we came into play. It's why we are relevant today also.
Yeah.
We will continue to be relevant. And when you build applications on this, right? Like we are still infrastructure.
Yeah.
I give you Lego blocks.
Correct.
You put the Lego blocks together to make whatever you want, right? So we still build Lego blocks. We give you all the blocks. A lot of our companies use parts of the blocks. Right? Some may use distance ETA calculation, route optimization. Whereas some use geocoding, polylines. So it depends. That's the other thing we did. We fully said we are buffet.
Yeah.
I will not force you into a set menu. That you have to eat what I give you, which is what Google almost certainly does. This is the fundamental difference.
Fascinating. Learned a lot about that. You spoke about metrics for optimization. When you look at your founder journey, either in hindsight or deliberately, was there one or two metrics that you all sort of was your North Star and you all sort of optimized the business for?
So, first time founder learnings. So we didn't have that North Star. See, like revenue is always North Star according to me in a B2B business. Okay. But for us, I don't know whether we focus too early on revenue or too late on revenue. And two, like where we too thinly spread on all the regions we wanted revenue from, because we had the money, we were investing in every region.
Yeah.
So we scaled product, market, and geography at the same time. So I think even today, if you're B2B, like a North Star has to be only two things. A, what is the problem you're solving for your customer? That is one. And is that problem important to them? Not important to you. Okay. So is it like, if you're able to drive through, so like through my route optimization platform, I sometimes like drive 4 to 15% efficiency in operations.
Right.
And that translates to a couple of million at scale. Now that is a valuable enough problem for them to pay you money. So I think you should first focus on is it valuable? Then the money will anyway come right to you. But if you are saying that I like this problem, I will do it my way, you buy that, it won't work.
Fair
So
enough.
I think the North Star has to be first consumer problem and efficiency, not revenue. If you're able to shave off through Gen AI, now I'm seeing many tools, right?
Yeah.
If you're shaving off like 80% of developer time on actually just doing good coding,
Yeah.
it's valuable.
Yeah. So revenue efficiency and beyond the customer value part of it. As we sort of come to the close of our session, a few things before I would love to do a quick rapid fire is
Yeah.
if you look at your journey, how many years did you run NextBillion?
Exactly 5 years.
Would you do it again?
100%.
What would you do different, if at all?
I would scale a little slower and I will try to first fix a problem in one geography.
Which geography would that be?
It'll be US.
One big difference is if you have to redo this, yes, but US would
Only
be
for
a
the
big
US.
one. I was hosting another US based founder from Thai here. He said a beautiful thing that I would rather have a B plus team in an A plus market than a plus team in a
I
B
100%
plus
agree
C.
with him.
I think what you're saying sort of I relate to that. One thing on your personal side, obviously I had the good fortune of meeting your wife, you're a father. What's been the role of your family, especially your wife, in the last 5 years?
A lot. She's put bread on the table for me at least because she's in a good stable job doing really well.
Yeah.
It also gave me the guts to do it. Right, because you have, I keep telling her, I hive off her insurance, I hive off her bonuses, her paychecks, because initially it was a big hit, even for me.
Of course.
I left pre-IPO, right? And everyone under the sun, including they told me, Gaurav and Shaolin, you guys are absolutely crazy. Who leaves a month before IPO? They're going to go public. But then I also have firmly believed if you don't sacrifice some bits, you will not be hungry to build a startup.
And I guess you had the 7 million check.
That was one thing.
Yeah.
Of course, we had some backing that we could hire a team.
Yeah.
I feel for me, it is Nandini's role was heavy. She also knew that I would do it. Right. At some point, she's like, okay, dude, just get it out of your system. Right? We are also newly married. Doesn't matter.
Earlier the better.
Earlier the better. So I feel it was a big role.
Yeah.
And then my daughter gave a little bit more purpose.
How did you guys celebrate when the deal happened with your family or with the co-founders?
Actually, we still haven't technically had a celebration because we still have a lot to do.
Of course.
Like with Velocitor and the founders there. Integration of, I will only celebrate when we integrate the product fully. We win our first customer together. We generate revenue. So like me and Gaurav decided we will throw a party then, not at exit. So we are waiting for it still.
I'll wait for the invite. What does life look like for Ajay thereafter? Like, do you have broad ideas? Do you have, like you said, you have said, get it out of the system. Now that you have technically got it out of the system, what would you want to do? Start again? Take a break? What's in the horizon?
So I'm going to be with Velocitor for a while. That I've promised them as well. So for me, I've become an employee. So I'm going to enjoy some perks of being an employee also, I think.
Nandini will be happy. She can hopefully hive off.
Step back. So I think I will be here for a while. But I think for me, three, 4 big areas we're looking at least in terms of the future, right? Like one is robotics / everything related to that.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of time that robots will be in our life. In our homes.
So robotics in terms of humanoids.
So I think it's a very broad topic, but I think home robotics rather. See, like humanoids can do many things. I'm talking purely about home robotics. I think either your help or healthcare things like this will get one robot.
The new versions of the Roombas
per home.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Okay. So how do you inculcate robots into society? It is going to be a big topic, by the way, I think.
Yeah.
Because there will be a part of your life where there will be one robot sitting there. So how do you make sure that you manage them well? That's one area. 2, it's a fad right now is health, wellness and everything around.
Yeah.
Not longevity, that's a separate topic for me.
Yeah.
But health, wellness is another area where I think either we'll be investing or like we'll be looking at that area very actively, me and a couple of friends. And third is I think all things that are related to spirituality. I think that is another, it's in health and wellness, but I want to bifurcate them a little bit. So I think these 3 areas, at least there's exposure, there is some know-how.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some things in which at least I'll be talking to people.
Yeah.
But for now, I'll just be here at least 18 months.
To get to that party.
Yeah.
Your favorite entrepreneur?
So many. I think Larry Page.
If you were not a founder, let's say you didn't choose this path, what would an alternate life look like?
I would have been a chef.
Chef?
Yeah, I love food. I love eating. If you even today go to my Instagram, there'll be a lot of food. I passionately love it.
All right, Ajay, I think that brings us to an end to very intriguing, fascinating conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Prantik, for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this episode. And it's like I said, as I started, that a conversation with a founder brings out so many different dimensions as to why did they start, when did they start, the failures, the milestones, and sort of the highs and the lows. For me, the 2-3 things that I'll sort of take away from this conversation, I think, Ajay spoke about the importance of, I think, knowing your limits. I think, as they say, you probably shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. You need to sort of build that team with A players. And I think he spoke about the importance of bench. I think a lot of founders sort of take that lightly. So to me, that's a fascinating takeaway. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show, and we'll come back with more. Thanks for watching.